let's move to mitigating and managing fraud risks. With everything that's going on, how should companies approach the mitigating of
with
these
all this
emerging
bad
risks?
news now, what do you do about it?
Exactly. Like, where should they focus?
Yeah. So again, a lot of you are involved probably in your widespread organizational response. You're being tapped from a crisis management perspective. You're being tapped to, many of you actually probably report into legal. You're part of that team. You're helping. We've got kind of three areas here. Crisis management, very broad term, a lot of things that are happening within that. Strong leadership, and then, of course, culture of compliance. So when we think about crisis management, there is a lot to be learned from historical issues. I think a lot of people are finding that they had what they thought were really good plans, continuity, and from a crisis management, and those are getting stress tested right now. So I think leveraging lessons learned from the past is a critical one. I think really making sure that you all as E&C professionals are involved in that response. We talked a little bit earlier about the need to really step back and think, what is the most critical thing for our organization? Crisis management is a response across a number of things. It's operational, it's people, it's compliance, it's regulatory, it's financial. It's how are we dealing and mitigating with all those factors, which, sadly, every single one of those is going to be impacted by this pandemic. The other thing that I think is important, and I've mentioned this, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but is to really, focus on the foundational elements and focus on the most critical areas of your program that you really just can't take your eye off the ball. As I mentioned at the very beginning, now is not the time, and I don't think anyone is, but just to, get it out there, it's probably not the time to design and implement a whole new fraud risk management program. But it is the time to really think about what must we continue? What is critical? What is table stakes for us and whomever in our organization that is responsible for the fraud risk management program? What must we maintain? That's that messaging, which kind of gets to the third one there, the culture of compliance.
Right.
Some of that is the ongoing monitoring. There are certain things that we need to continue to monitor. When we think about our whistleblower hotlines and our speak up lines, those things have to continue. People are going to report stuff. And in fact, I think you would see a significant intake, an uptick in the number of claims. I've talked to clients and they said they're getting a lot of calls for various things, probably across the different pillars that I just rattled off. Investigations must happen. Inquiries must be made. Really. So those sorts of things must continue. They are just going to maybe look different. Remote investigations. How do you do those? I know a lot of people are not comfortable with that. There's a lot of things from a legal perspective and the attorneys that I talk to around interviewing remotely and kind of will that stand up and those sorts of things. And these are maybe some of the bigger matters. But that's something to consider, but you can't not do them.